In this video, we're going to be looking at the raised garden bed and do a video tour of them for the month of July 2024. And this is the incremental tours that I do every single month. Oh, the bug up there. I saw a shadow down here. Anyway, the incremental tours we do every single month. We have a lot of airplanes overhead. We live among 4 air bases, 2 airports, and a heliport. So we get a lot of air traffic. That one's it's pulling a banner. Made you look. I can't read the rest. It said made you look. I'm not sure what the rest of it said. It was backwards to me. Anyway, so we do these garden tours in 3 parts. This is the backyard. We do the raised beds is part 3. Part 2 is the outer beds of the backyard because they're pretty big. And part 1, I've got a lizard looking at me right here, just doing his little dance, staring right at. Anyway, part 1, of course, is the front and side tour. There's another. They're all looking at me. I have an audience today. Isn't that cool? Anyway. So yeah, follow along. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing on this incremental tour. We're going to look at how things are going in the month of July. Things are green. In fact, I can't get over how there's another one. These lizards are staring at me. Anyway, I can't get over how green everything looks and what is still surviving. We're going to do a little tying up of stuff and kind of take care of things as we go along. So follow along. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So before I take the camera in hand and start showing you our raised beds, this is the Bowtie Gardens. I'm Bowtie David, as I already said in the intro there. And we have been working on this property for almost 3 years. We're about 3 months short. Let's see. August, September, 3 months short of 3 years on this property, and we have done a lot to it. In fact, I'm going to see if I can get these pictures back in here again, show you a little bit of what this backyard looked like before we moved in. There's a few pictures. I know I got one from over here by the northern magnolia tree looking across where the beds are now. I got another one back over here looking straight into the back door. Again, where there used to be a huge tree out there. You can see that video from about 1.5 years ago. And so we've done a lot to these gardens and just been enjoying learning, having our own food, people, just being able to grow your own tomatoes. You know, every one of us says that does these YouTube videos, oh, growing your tomatoes at home, they taste so much better than what you get at the store. And they do, because you get to grow them to full ripeness. They're not picked before they're ready to be picked. Been put into storage, put into cold storage, some things, and they just have all the flavor. And then the other part of that is the varieties that you buy at the store, they're not bred for flavor. They're bred for storage and display. I got a few different things, and sometimes you get other features at the cost of some features, and you get more a longer storage shelf life and a better look at the cost of flavor. And so they breed these different cultivars of tomatoes, for example, and it's sometimes just discouraging. I know other YouTubers like Jess over at Roots and Refuge, she always says store-bought tomato tastes like disappointment, and it does. I'll admit, we buy store-bought tomatoes occasionally because we don't have that many tomatoes, but we do have a lot of them, and we're going to be having in a month. So next month's garden tour is going to be even better. So be sure to subscribe if you're not already, so you can see what we're harvesting next month. However, we're harvesting a lot this month. We've got a few things we're about to show you that are just pouring in. Food is just pouring in, and we're starting to have trouble. I can tell you right now, my Thai hot peppers, I have not harvested them. I've given away 2 bags of them to 2 other people, and I couldn't remember which of the neighbors that live back here, was it him or her that liked the hot ones? It's him. He's off at work right now. He'll be back next week, and so I'm going to pick him a bag of those Thai hot peppers, and so I've had a lot of them. So we'll look at those as we're getting through there. Anyway, we are going to have this map of the backyard, And this is just a map of the backyard, and we're going to pop the raised beds out of here so you can kind of get an idea of where we're at. We're going to put this down in the corner of the video, and we'll have this little icon here. A solid circle represents the camera. The arrow represents the angle the camera is pointing. And so we're going to put that on a little map down here on the corner so you can see exactly where in the garden we were. And I try to do this every single garden tour. I've been doing this since, well, for a while now, beginning of the year when I got the tours done. So, yeah, just trying to encourage people. We have, I warn you now, as you're looking out across here, we have a little bit of what I like to call chaos gardening. Now, my mind is not very organized. I'm not good at making lists. I'm not good at sticking to tasks sometimes. I have trouble with my ADD brain. And so my garden looks a little disheveled at times, and it does. It looks a little disheveled right now. Mrs. Bowtie has been pulling weeds for us, but in doing a great job. And I pull the weeds, of course, as well. In fact, we got a bed over here in bed 3 that I'm going to show you that's like, oh my goodness, total transformation. In fact, I'm going to have to go back and find last month's garden tour of that bed so you can see the transformation. It's crazy. Anyway, but yeah, we'll go around these 3 raised beds, the Greenstalk right here, and see what's happening. Oh, I think we squeeze in the Goji berry bush here that I didn't take care. Okay, moving right along. We'll talk about that as we get to it. Be sure to share and like this video. It really helps grow the channel. The biggest thing is that subscribing. All these are free things, ways you can help support the channel and grow the channel. But be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss the next parts coming up and you can see what else is going on. I really hope that these videos encourage you to get out and even just start a single tomato plant if you're not already doing it. That's how I got started. A friend of mine gave me a tomato plant and I grew it and I loved it, and it grew into this in 5 years later. And thank you, Kip, for that. But anyway, so we'll take a look at all these things that are going on. A lot of green right behind us. There's some pretty big plants right there that blew me away. In fact, I did a little research on one of them to see how long has it been since I put that thing in there, and what did I say? Okay, I said some pretty silly things back in May. Yeah. So anyway, all that being said, let's get going on the garden tour. So this is, of course, the Greenstalk. It is a raised vertical planting system that you can buy already made. The great thing is this thing, in fact, let me put on wider view here. This thing is all UV stable. The sun will not break it down like the sun here in Florida normally does. We are in Destin, Florida, and I rotate this thing every once in a while, and like this here, when it comes around to this, I have to pull that parsley that is, oh, that's a leaf flower right there. I'm gonna have to pull that. Oh, and these are cauliflower that have reseeded themselves. Oh my goodness. I need to get my cutters and cut that off because I don't want to disturb these. I wonder if these are... Okay, this is kind of cool. I didn't notice this. I had cauliflower in this thing and it went to seed. No, it didn't go to seed. What is this? Maybe the broccoli did go to seed. Maybe it is broccoli. I don't know. We'll have to find out together. But I want to leave this and see what it grows into. So I'll end up cutting off this leaf flower, which is an annual weed that will die out. Here is some more of whatever it is. Oh my goodness, this is too cool. So this, I'm not sure if that's lettuce or what. This stuff here is leaf flower. It grows prolifically here. In fact, let me just show you here underneath this one. Zoom right in here. See all the little seeds underneath every single set of leaves? Now this one doesn't have seeds developed yet. Oh, look up here. Look up here. Those seeds look a lot more developed. That's a leaf flower. And it doesn't flower. I've never seen anything but these bundles of leaves. And I guess it's just calling that a flower. Anyway, so we do have strawberries in here, of course, that I'm continuing to let grow. I am going to be collecting the tendrils off of these and propagating more plants. These are strawberries that come from the Walmart seeds that I harvested off of some organic strawberries years ago, and I'm still growing these things. And I have plans, we're going to talk about some plans for more strawberries, because I have made some major decisions concerning that. This right here is a leaf flower. These leaf flowers normally come out real friendly like. There's the roots. It's not a very big root system. And I will throw that over here in Mrs. Bowtie's weed bucket that I hadn't emptied yet from the last time. We got halfway through our job last time, and I emptied it, and then she got a little bit more done. Anyway, so this is parsley over here, and this is probably cauliflower or broccoli. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's going to do anything. It's really experimental at this point. This is Dino Kale, and it stayed small. It stayed very small. In fact, in the beginning of bed number 2, we're going to look at some Dino Kale. I wonder how this tastes. It's a little tough, but it actually has a really good flavor to it. Real mild. Now, this is the kale, the Dino Kale. Lacinato kale is the other name for it. The Dino Kale or Lacinato kale. Someone advised, in fact, it was Jess over at Roots and Refuge. And by the way, when I talk about other channels or other videos, I like to include links down in the description and also up in the upper right-hand corner. You may be on a device that gets what's called cards. And in this upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little letter I, lowercase I, in a circle. That's called the cards. You click that, and a little panel slides out the right side of the screen, and you can go to other videos that I've talked about, or other channels, or things like that. But anyway, so Jess over at Roots and Refuge was talking one day. She says, if you never liked kale, and this is important advice, if you never liked kale, but you might want to try it, and see if you might grow to like it, start with this Lacinato kale or Dino Kale. It's the same stuff, just different names. And start with that, and it's got this really nice flavor to it that you will like. Kale. Now, Mrs. Bowtie and I, we don't like a lot of greens. She likes lettuce and spinach and romaine, which we grow some of that occasionally when we can. I've had trouble because of our heat here in Florida, but she does like that. We don't grow chard or some of the other greens that you grow. We just haven't gotten into them. And now we do like spinach, fresh spinach, like I already said. But anyway, so I tried this. Oh, no. So when she said that, when she put out the video that said that, we had just moved into this property. And the previous owner, who was a good gardener, he had just right over here a very large Dino Kale plant, and I recognized it. And so when Jess said that, I literally paused the TV, stood up, walked out the back door, and picked a few leaves right then, and discovered immediately that, oh, this is a good kale. This stuff tastes really good. And so it became my favorite. And so we grow Lacinato kale because I like it, because Jess over at Roots and Refuge recommended it, and she's actually the very first YouTuber that I followed on this journey as I've been learning, and I encourage you to learn. If you're still there, if you're experienced, hey, teach me. Put in the comments below things that you've learned. If you see I'm doing stupid stuff, please tell me, because I'm still considering myself a beginner. And I know I'm learning. I still have a lot to learn. And so feel free to tell me when I've done something really stupid. Sometimes I'll listen. Sometimes it turns into an experiment. See, well, does this work? Because, you know, it's interesting, because a lot of this stuff becomes, okay, it doesn't work for them. I wonder if it'll actually work for me. And so I might continue it just because I'm already down that road and I don't want to turn quite yet. So don't take offense if I don't. I want to just try things, because I learned some things in my garden that work here that don't work elsewhere, and it's different. And it's funny because just 10 miles that way across the Choctawhatchee Bay is Niceville, Florida. Niceville, Florida's weather is so much, they've hit 100 degrees. Not feels like, I mean, really 100-degree temperatures over there. We have barely hit 91 here, just across the bay, because we're surrounded by right now 87-degree waters. So our temperatures tend to stabilize at that point. But Anyway, let's get back to this. There's that lacinato kale, more leaf flower. I've got to get in here and start pulling stuff out of this thing. But you can see these strawberries. They are growing strong. They look good. They're putting out tendrils. That is a little tiny tendril plant, and that will develop. And I will put that in something that I can chop it off. Oh, look at this. Looky here. Look at this. This is a perfect example. You see the little tiny roots down there? In fact, let me zoom in on that. Woo! There we go. Look at the little tiny roots on that. Isn't that amazing? This thing is reaching out, looking for dirt. And so what I need to do is I need to put this in some soil somewhere. I'm going to choose to put it in a little cup of soil, and I'll just balance it up on that shelf right there. And this will be another plant. Notice down here, it's actually gone in and rooted in right here. So this thing is ready to go. This is a new strawberry plant. And next, now strawberries are perennial, which means they live year after year. However, they typically last between 3 to 6 years. They do their best production somewhere between the 2nd and 4th year, depending on the cultivar. But this is a brand new tomato plant. Strawberry plant that's going to hopefully produce next year. We'll have some strawberries. This thing here, and we're going to talk about our strawberry plan here in just a minute. But I'm really getting excited about it. But these strawberries, they will make themselves baby strawberry plants just all over. There's another one ready to go, and that's that one we just looked at. But yeah, these things are. Oh, yeah, that's the one. These things will propagate out new plants all over the place, just everywhere. They propagate like rabbits. Seriously. Oh, the lacinato kale, there's a strawberry down there. Parsley, flat leaf Italian parsley. So mostly strawberries in here. I'm still trying to figure out the direction I want to go with the Greenstalk, and I haven't done a lot with it this year at all. I did put a few strawberries in it. And I'd see now that I need to come in here, and I didn't realize we had this developed of strawberry seed babies, strawberry propagations coming out here. So that definitely needs to get taken care of. Okay, so moving right along to bed number 1. And bed number 1, of course, the very first thing we have over here are all our zinnias. I've chopped a lot of zinnia flowers off, but there are zinnias in here. Most of these are giant zinnias. The seeds were provided by a neighbor and friend, Jack and Anna. Thank you guys. And you can see here we got tons of these zinnias coming out. There's actually a lot of buds in here right now, because when they get to this point, I will actually chop them off. And what I'll do is, like for this one right here, let me zoom in here. For this one here, I'll follow the stem down and I will chop it. You see how there's 2 stems right here? I'll chop it right above that. And these 2 will start to develop their flowers. So one flower turns into 2 and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you can make your zinnias produce a lot more by doing that. So zinnias, you'll see they're everywhere. I've just kind of got them peppered throughout here, and I really like the zinnias. And you know, they're edible, they're good for the pollinators, etc., etc. Right above this, though, we have our cucumbers. Now, these cucumbers are on the struggle bus. They are having a tough time because of our heat. Now, I do have this under 50% shade cloth. That's what all this cloth up here is. 50% shade cloth, and I've got a thing here. I've got another sheet here. I've got another sheet over there. In fact, we'll talk about that little section, which ends up being a 75% shade cloth, and why the experiment I'm doing right now with that. In fact, let me see if I can show you this lizard that was staring at me. You see him right there? Oh my goodness, these guys are so funny. I love the lizards. Some people don't like the dark lizards. They are an invasive species, but I think that our green lizards were not doing a good enough job, and so nature brought in backup. That's how I think of them. So in fact, look at, okay, no, I can't go there yet. Bed number 1, cucumbers. And like I said, these cucumbers are struggling. They look terrible. I'll actually come in here and pull off nasty leaves and cut off nasty vines, and they'll shoot out again in a different direction. But let's talk about male and female flowers, people. And this is very basic. So I'm looking around here. I see a lot of male flowers. See, this is a male flower. You can look at the stem. See how it looks like just a plain stem? underneath that flower. If we come down here, you'll notice this flower here, which is already withering a little bit, but this flower here, there's actually a baby cucumber here. This is a female flower. So what they were hoping is a bee would come along, get in the male flower, get some pollen on them, and then go into the female flower and pollinate the female flower. I don't know if that one's happened. If it hasn't been, it'll start turning brown here on the end. That's how it happens. With the way our heat is right now, I'm not expecting a lot. I have not seen any cucumbers coming off of these in a while, though as I'm standing here, look, oh, as I spoke it, it happened. Looky there. There's a cucumber that I have not seen. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to take this in and put this in the fridge. Now it does have some bites in it, so we'll have to cut this one open carefully. But yeah, there's a cucumber that I hadn't seen that just popped out in a couple, and these things just take a few days to pop out. As soon as they're pollinated, bam, you got a cucumber. And these are Suyo long cucumbers, so they actually grow about 2 feet long. So this right here is just about the perfect size to get these Suyo long. I'm going to go take this in and we'll continue. So in case you didn't know, I do have a website where I keep track of all my harvest. And you can see here that's 408 grams. It's a little under a pound of cucumber right there. And I log that. It gets on the website at bowtielife.me. I'll put that across the bottom here. bowtielife.me is the web address. So there's really not a lot on the website right now. We have our harvest log and we have links to our Facebook and Instagram pages and of course this YouTube channel. But that's about it right now. We are a steadily growing channel, which is why we ask people to be sure to subscribe, watch the videos, share them with your friends and so on and so forth. It all helps grow the channel and bring more content like this. If you like this kind of stuff, then you can actually show support and help us grow. Okay, so the cucumber. Now, one thing I want to point out here. This right here is the next item we're looking at, and this is ginger. It is being attacked by the cucumber. I'm not crazy about that, but you know what? It's a little bit of chaos gardening. It's kind of the sign of it. And there's actually one underneath here that I want to get out. But let me show you. Let me get this one out here, and then I'll show you what's happening here. Because nature is capable of taking care of itself. And so well, boy, oh boy, this thing's really grabbing hold, isn't it? It was hoping to climb it and just was not able to. And see, so there's another female flower right there, just waiting to be pollinated. I can't tell if it's opening or closing. Now you can actually manually pollinate those yourself if your bees aren't doing a good job. Now we have a bee box here. Oh, there's a cucumber right there growing. But now, so this ginger, this stalk right here with the thin leaves that's being attacked, this is ginger. And if you look down here, you see this stalk is starting to grow ginger. And it's coming out with other shoots. Now this is another ball of ginger that's growing. And this thing will grow into several of these balls of ginger. Oh, there's another one over there, in fact. But each one of these is growing a chunk of ginger, and it's growing out in different directions. And eventually this will have several stalks on it. In fact, if I come down here a little farther, you can see this one is just shooting out everywhere. Look at this ginger. This is beautiful looking, and this one doesn't have any cucumbers attacking it, so it looks great. Now I planted these back in, I think I want to say April. We got a couple of rows of ginger in here. And it took about a month for these things to come up. In fact, you can look back in the May garden tour, and this one right here, this stalk right here, was the first one up. And it is still going. Now, I also planted turmeric into here as well. And I'm going to go over to the other side because it's this plant right here that blew my mind. So here we are on the other side of the bed, and there's a zinnia down there. But you can see this turmeric right here, okay? When I planted these, I told you in the April garden tour, April or May, I think it was the May garden tour, turmeric takes a long time to come up. I'm sorry. Ginger takes a long time to come up. Turmeric takes forever. Now, I had gone out to our local fresh market not Fresh Market, yeah, Fresh Market, and I had got some organic turmeric. Now, we had some turmeric here in our property when, sorry, I just got to show you this, what I just discovered. You see that cucumber under there? Okay, yeah, this happens. It's another cucumber that I'm going to have to pick and record. Anyway, turmeric. I went down to our local store, got some organic turmeric, and planted several fingers of it. And these are called fingers, and we're going to be harvesting this in a few months. We're going to wait for this plant to start dying back, and we'll harvest this. So be sure and subscribe so you don't miss what it looks like. But here we go. I wanted to show you what I discovered. So as we're... I hit the button to stop the recording. Here we go. Okay, so as we're looking down here, that's a little too close. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. And I wanted to show you down here. Look, you see that right there? That's a finger of turmeric right there. Look how big that is. Oh my goodness, it's huge. I have to zoom out again. It's bigger than any of my fingers. It's huge. So the previous turmeric I had kind of grew small. It wasn't very big. In fact, none of it ever grew bigger than about this right here. It just didn't grow that big. Well, this thing here is a monster. So whatever turmeric I got, obviously, it grows huge. And these things are just absolutely taking off. And we're going to have more turmeric than we can shake a stick at. So we will be giving away turmeric at our church's Sunday harvest basket at some point, because, yeah, I'll never eat that much turmeric in my whole life. My goodness, that's just... Okay, and now the ginger, I probably will eat. We're growing more of that this year than we ever have, and I probably need a little bit more. But the turmeric, oh my goodness, I do eat turmeric every single morning with my eggs. Turmeric's an interesting spice because it will, kind of like salt, it doesn't have a lot of flavor of its own, but it accentuates the flavors of the other foods you put it with. So I put it with my scrambled eggs, and they taste great. I love it. So yeah, this is my new favorite thing, the turmeric, to watch grow. And this thing is just huge. I love teasing this thing. It's been a little bit eaten over here by something. I don't know what, but that's fine. That's fine. So one thing I did finally get in here, some of you know I had trouble with my basil, and I finally did get some basil here, and it's going to grow up with these turmeric, and we'll see how big it grows. Next thing we have is blackberry, and these blackberries are growing something fierce. I'm starting to train these new canes. Now, I did cut out a whole bunch of old canes last month, and we have all these new canes going now. And these will be next year's producers of blackberries. And I'm very excited because I'm hoping to have more of it this year. And I will be training all these random vines all the way. They will go from here, what's that, 8 feet over there, to that trellis over there. I will run strings across here. They will run along the strings. I'll clip them to the strings, and they will grow strong. They even grow through this tree, which is... I've been complaining about this tree. I think it's a pear. I don't know if it actually creates pears. It's never done anything for me. But I may just leave it here to be a trellis for the blackberries. But yeah, so in bed number 1, these blackberries are growing like crazy. In fact, let me go to the other side and show you what it looks like from there. So past the cucumbers, ginger, turmeric, and blackberries, and more zinnias down here, of course, we have okra, and the okra are starting to explode. Look at that right there. Now this is our hill country red okra. They grow big. That thing can grow about another inch before I will pick it, which, I mean, it's already pretty good size, but it will grow another inch. They grow pretty big before they start getting woody. We like them because they do get so big. And looky here, we have flowers coming up everywhere. They are beautiful, just beautiful flowers. Now, we got to discuss this, folks. This is our okra bed. It has been for 3 years now. And it is a 12 foot by 4 foot bed that I have been growing okra in. You can see there's just okra everywhere. There's flowers, little baby okra, growing okra. I've already harvested some okra off of this stalk. And in fact, this was the MI Gardener seed in the beginning, which was like several year old seed, 4-year-old, 3 or 4 year old seed that we had. Then we had some seed from Seed Savers Exchange. I can't remember. You'd have to go back and look at when we planted this. I think I did a thing on planting the okra. Either that or it was in the part 3 of Garden Tour. And then down the end is my saved seed. Now, it's funny because whatever this was in the middle, it was slightly young. It was a year younger seed, and it did pop up first. Then the MI Gardener, and then my saved seed from last year popped up. But they are just going crazy now. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful okra. That could be picked anytime. Oh, I see one up there. Look at these. Oh my goodness. Just tons and tons of okra coming out. Whoop, too close, sorry. Still learning my new camera here. There's 4 okra right there in that frame. Just amazing looking stuff. And if you don't know what to do with okra, go back and look. We just released a video. Mrs. Bowtie shows you how to make southern fried okra. And it is one of our absolute favorites. We've got a whole bunch of plants in here, 40 some odd plants in here, and it produces more okra than you can shake a stick at, and we can eat every bit of it, and we do. We freeze it, we slice it up, we freeze it, eat it throughout the year. It's awesome, but we are going to be moving this okra bed. And this okra bed, it's been our okra bed for 3 years now. If you look out through the gate, right there in the beginning of every first part of our garden tour, the front and side garden, and you don't get to see this area very often, but anyway, that's our strawberry patch off through the gate that you just barely see. In fact, there's that pomegranate tree that's in the strawberry patch. We are going to be planting our okra out there this year in the front. Now, okra loves our sun, loves our heat. It thrives in it. You'll notice there's no shade cloth over it. It actually will grow several feet above this 8-foot high post here. The first year we had 12-foot okra out here. I'm sorry, 17-foot okra. I think the okra was 17 feet. It grows huge, this stuff does. And so I want to plant, and you see it's in the raised bed, of course. I want to plant it up there in the ground so we can reach it better. And when we're not harvesting, we got neighbors that'll harvest some for us, because we have a lot of people around here that like the okra. Now, so the question is, what's going to happen with the strawberries? This is going to become a strawberry patch. Now, I am going to dedicate this to strawberries, okay? And it will be strawberries here, but we're going to start growing strawberries as a cover crop in a lot of the other beds. And you'll start seeing our strawberry plants just popping up anywhere. And that is the plan. I've had so much trouble with the strawberry bed up there that, in fact, this last year I tried a new experiment. It is definitely failing. And so we're going to start moving these strawberries to other places. We love the strawberries. They can grow everywhere where there's a little bit more shade, and they will do just fine. Now, I know I said this is a sunny spot. Well, you notice my framework goes around here. We're going to get a 50% piece of shade cloth for this 12 by 12 square, and the strawberry plants here will be under a 50% shade cloth, just like all the rest of this area through here that is growing more tender stuff that has a little trouble with our Florida sun. So this bed here, let me see if I can pop in a video from last month, and you can see here this was all overgrown with dead Brussels sprout plant, cauliflower, and it was covered, absolutely covered over. Well, I pulled everything out. I got it cleared out. We got some grass growing here, and that's fine. We'll be taking care of that eventually. You'll be able to follow along and learn how to take care of beds that are overgrown in no time. I like this, dealing with this stuff with as little work as possible. This one, ow, yep, that's a hot one. That's a hurty one. Yep. I was grabbing it gingerly, and looky there. Doggone it, it got me. Woo! Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to get rid of these thorny little thingies, but I am working on keeping these things under control. Mrs. Bowtie and I both wear our Corona gloves. Also the little creeping cucumber over there that is, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what that is. Blackberry, there's another blackberry growing right there. Anyway, we got to stretch those out, get them up the trellis here, and oh, looky here comes another little lizard. He wants his moment in the sun. Looky there. Oh, he's just all proud of that, isn't he? Looky there. He's missing the tip of his tail. Something got a hold of him. I still like the lizards. Yeah, I know. I'm a little silly that way. Anyway, I might throw some cucumber seeds on this trellis because the other cucumbers are looking like they're failing, even though we just found 2 great cucumbers on the other trellis. But yeah, we'll have to see where we go with that. I got ants crawling all over me. Whew, that was just a pain in the neck. Anyway, let's go on to, we have the pear tree, I think it is, that we just looked at, and up here on the other side we have our solitary bee box. Now, some bees had gone in here and filled in some of these. You can see like right up there, there's one that's sort of been filled in. Every single one of them has been opened up and the solitary bees have come out. Now, solitary bees, folk, mason bees. These bees are a little bit different than what we have in our bee box. These do not make hives, they do not make honey. They do not have to defend a hive. They are not aggressive. They are much more friendly. They also are better pollinators than honeybees. So we have this box, and I'm intending to get more of these boxes in our garden so that we can host more and more of these mason bees. I'll link to a video from Joe Gardner. Is it Joe Gardner, or is it his Growing a Greener World series? It was. And it's a video about mason bees that will just change your mind about bees. There are a lot more than honeybees out there, and other bees are actually in healthy positions right now. So, I don't know what I'm going to do with this tree. Okay, so I wanted to show you. This is bed number 3, and we're going to start right here in the corner. Of course, there's more blackberries. These are thornless blackberries, by the way, which is really nice. Thank you very much to the previous owner of the property, because he had a bunch of these growing in here. But this is that Dino Kale. Now, look how huge this leaf is. And I walk by this one and I'll pick a leaf. In fact, I picked from right there just yesterday or day before. And I'll pick a leaf off and just eat it right here. Now, they do get eaten up by, I don't know, snails, slugs, whatever. And I'll pick a few off the bottom and just trash them, which is okay because that promotes better growth up at the top. And so I'll pick them like that and just let it keep growing up, and it'll grow big leaves. There's actually another one. You can see there's a stalk back in here. And I think this one has finally given up the ghost. I don't know. I'm not too hopeful for that. I don't think anything's going to happen from that. That's probably gone. There was a third one down in there somewhere, and oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Do you see what I'm looking at? I am missing these cucumbers totally. And if I pan up here just a little bit, there's another big one right there. Look at that. Oh my goodness. This is the thing about cucumbers. They will sneak up on you. And then they grow huge. And then when they grow too huge, they will have big woody seeds and not really good to eat. Well, these are not there yet. I'm going to go pick these 2 right now. I'm going to walk around the other side and get me 2 more cucumbers. Oh my goodness. I just can't get over this. This is so funny. And just as I was, okay, now this one's starting to turn yellow. Ooh, that's not good because that means it's getting mature. That's a pretty big cucumber though. My goodness. There's another one down here growing. Okay, that's good to see. Now, the later you get in the season, at least here, the later I get in the season, the less bug eaten they get. So these, in fact, this one, there's one little bug bite right down there. That looks like just a nibble. These are still good, people. You just carefully cut around that bug bite. Make sure you get the worm out. Yeah, there's a worm in there, but he's only eating in one area. cucumbers, they will sneak up on you and smack you in the face with 1.5 pounds of cucumbers. So yeah, I called it. It was almost 1.5 pounds of cucumbers. And here I was just telling you, oh, these cucumbers aren't producing. Yeah, these cucumbers made a liar out of me. Good grief. Oh my goodness, I'm sitting here looking through now thinking, oh, I'm missing something, I'm sure of it. So, okay, let's moving right along. I'm going to go back over. No, let's go ahead and stick to this side. We'll do the other side afterwards. I normally do the other side first, but it's okay. Lots of zinnias growing through here. Lots of bean plants growing in here. Let's see. Okay, so like this is a bean plant growing across. I've been doing kind of a job of cutting back these beans. These are green beans. And look, right here, there's a zinnia just poking through, about to put up. And this thing, look how tall that is. That's, I don't know, this is 8 foot in the air. They're about 2 foot off the ground. So that's about a 6 foot tall giant zinnia. And it's about to make a bud. Looky there. My goodness. I love these giant zinnias. Now, okay, so I'm going to say something about this. We started off in an apartment. In fact, here's a picture of our first garden in the apartment on the patio. It was a north-facing patio. We got tiny bit of morning sun, a little bit of afternoon sun. And we grew miniature stuff because I was growing in grow bags. It's taken me 3 years living in this house to realize I don't have to grow miniature stuff anymore. So now I'm growing these massive giant zinnias and absolutely loving them. This massive giant bean wall, which we'll take a look from the other side in just a minute, and absolutely loving it. These massive pepper plants, looky here. I mean, and now mind you, I just harvested peppers off of these plants. This is a Peppadew. In fact, I can go under here and show you exactly what. Oh, I just got my hand in a spider web. It's okay. He's part of the cycle, part of the process. This is a Peppadew. This is a very mild pepper. Tastes amazing, but it does have a little bit of heat. It's about 1/2 to 1/10 of what a jalapeno has, and they grow to a nice red. I just picked a whole bunch of red ones, so I may not have any good red ones on here. But anyway, they're wonderful. They are just absolutely wonderful little peppers. And we actually discovered them at an extremely fancy restaurant. And I got from the chef what it was. I didn't get the name right from him, but my friend over Chili Chump, Sean over at Chili Chump, it's another channel on YouTube, he straightened me out real quick and told me what it was. And he knew it. He knew exactly what it was immediately, and got some seeds. And I've been growing them ever since. I got 2 plants here. I got another plant in the middle right there. And then there's another 1 or 2 plants down the end. We'll look at in just a second. But I love these Peppadew. They are great. Just blistering them in a skillet lightly, serving with your meal. Oh, they just add so much flavor. Anyway. So we have Thai hot peppers. Okay, now notice these peppers, there's a lot of them. In fact, Alice and Bill, if you're watching, there's a lot of them. These things are growing prolifically. It's not a very big plant, but boy, do they make a lot of these. And it will actually, I'll clear out some of these zinnias and other stuff, and it will grow bigger, but notice how these peppers stick straight up. That's the Thai hot pepper. They're all sticking just straight up, okay? And that's the only way you can tell. Once I cut these off, I would confuse these, whoops, wrong way. I would confuse these with the dragon cayenne. You'll notice these, as they're growing, they're hanging down. These are the dragon cayenne. Now this thing has put on a whole bunch of new growth recently. I did just harvest a boatload of dragon cayenne peppers off these 2 plants right here. An absolute boatload. They make a bunch of them. And so once you pick them, and this is the funny thing, once you pick them, they look exactly the same. You have to see them on the plant to know, is that a dragon cayenne or is that a Thai hot? Thai hots are 10 times hotter than the dragon cayenne. So you really kind of want to know if you're looking for a particular pepper. So yeah, those are kind of fun. Anyway, look at these double zinnias, these giant double zinnias. I'm saving a lot of seeds from these doubles. That's a double right there. See all the extra petals? And this is a single. Now, Jim, you said, isn't the single better for pollinators? I still have not verified that. I can see why you would say that, just because pollinators can get to more pollen here. I don't know. I still don't know. I want to confirm that, though, because you got my interest up. Okay, we're down here at the end. We have two Peppadew plants, two more Peppadew plants. Now, I harvested a whole bunch off of here, but look, this thing is a prolific producer. These things make these Peppadew peppers just tons and tons of them. You can see them all up inside there. They're just a very light heat, wonderful, wonderful pepper. Just, oh, so delicious. And just something for an easy go, you know, just an easy bite-sized pepper. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I love these Peppadew. Great flavor. And you can harvest peppers anytime too, even when they're green like this. But in fact, that's where some fancy restaurants will serve them green. I like them a little redder because they have more heat in them. So we're still in bed number 2. And we're coming down here, and look what we have here. We have another basil plant, and I'm so excited because we are starting to get basil growing in the garden. And this is actually a double plant. You can see there's another plant down here. Once the ring comes off of here, I'll let that thing get a little bigger, then I'll pull that ring. It's helping to keep the slugs away, at bay just a little bit, hopefully. So yeah, that's exciting to have basil growing. We don't eat a lot of basil like some people do, but they are great for confusing pests. They let off their aroma, and they just help keep some pests away. As they grow bigger, they'll do a lot better. So as the season goes on further and further, you'll notice that we have less and less eaten plants. It's my 3rd year here in this garden. We keep seeing it over and over. And yeah, it's very exciting. Now we got a lot of, I don't know, this some kind of fungus growing on these. I forget what it is. These leaves will fail, and they will grow new leaves. And I still don't see beans on these. In fact, let's go over here just right to the other side right there. So these beans are growing prolifically. They are thick up in here, and there's a lot of leaves dying. And I'll actually come through here every once in a while, about once a month, and pull a lot of these failing leaves out of here, give it more room to breathe. I have seen a few buds on here. In fact, recently I've seen a little bit more. Our weather has really started to break a little bit cooler. We're getting our highs down into the 80s, and it's late July. It's going to be hot again in August, I know, but I'm just hoping that it'll give it enough of a break that these will start producing beans. Now, once they start producing, folks, this thing will produce prolifically. It will make a ton of beans. They look terrible now. It's not something to worry about for us. I'll keep these things going. They're still developing their roots. They're still, in fact, if I come down here, look at this set of leaves right here. Beautiful, beautiful leaves. And I'll actually pull off the bad leaves. Like I said, about once a month maybe. I'll come out here and do that. Sometimes I'll just do it in my morning walkthrough. I'll end up just pulling a few bad leaves off of here just to give it a little more breathing room. Still hadn't produced those beans yet. In fact, I haven't got bean 1 off of this, but these buds, boy, if our current weather holds, we'll have them by the next garden tour. Look at this thing. It's just getting ready to put flowers out everywhere. But I haven't seen any beans, and I'm saying this and just hoping beyond hope that I just run into some beans right now, because I've already said that about the cucumbers, and the cucumbers didn't work. The cucumbers made a liar out of me, folks. So yeah, that bean trellis goes all the way up there. It's a 16-foot long bean trellis. There's another 16-foot long cattle panel identical to this one up across the top, and then there's shade cloth on top of that. However, if you look up here, you can see that it's spilling out above the shade cloth, and I need to keep an eye because I'm actually seeing buds up there. Let me see if I can zoom in. I'm actually seeing buds up there, and I'm wondering if those buds will start producing before underneath the shade cloth, because we added these side awnings on the back here. This is the afternoon sun that is protecting. We got it. It's 40 feet long. This awning here, and there's actually it's two 20-foot panels, but 2 20-foot panels make 40 foot, and they're protecting the north side, the afternoon sun from this, but it's still letting in sun. So this year I'm finding out if these beans really don't need protection like this. It's an experiment, folks. You gotta keep experimenting, try things, what works better, because there's all kinds of things that you'll learn that's like, oh, well, that worked a little better this year, and you'll learn exactly what to do. I have these lizards everywhere, folks. I would not be surprised if I had a couple hundred of these lizards on our property. They eat so many insects. They are awesome. So that's the cucumber trellis we were just looking at. That blackberry, that's where the Dino Kale is, and then we have this bean trellis. And I have mixed in here, you'll see there's little zinnias popping out all over the place. Overlapping this bean trellis here in the front is where we start getting into our tomatoes. Now these tomatoes, this is Everglades tomatoes. This grows down here in Florida, really good. Now, these plants look really nice right now. You'll notice there's very few tomatoes on them. In fact, I can see one right here. Can you see that one right there? I'm gonna zoom all the way in. See, there's a little tiny, now these Everglades tomatoes, they are small. They're bigger than that, obviously. They get about so big. And they're juicy, juicy, juicy. Full of flavor. And be sure to subscribe. I actually make tomato sauce out of these, and the sauce is amazing. It's not watery, it's thick sauce. You'll have to subscribe. I did this last year. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do another video, most definitely, and show how I do it. But these little things, they're not like I said, they're not looking great right now. Can you see that one in between there? Boom. I like this new camera. Whoops, one fell off. Yeah, that one was kind of failing anyway. Some of these vines are failing. They're not looking great. And I come in here and clean it up. But you know what? These plants are developing their root system. They're developing their leaves. Oh, I see one down here. Looky here. There's one right there. Looky under here. Now this plant was a volunteer. Oh, no, this is another tomato, another Everglades tomato. Back behind here. Almost ripe. That'll still be good. Yeah. Right now, the ones that I get, oh, full of flavor. Very strong. Delicious. Makes a sauce like you've never had before. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so this 16-foot long cattle panel trellis, come 2 months from now, it should be, I'm hoping that it's covered in Everglades tomatoes. We actually have some volunteers down here. This is a volunteer. Everything here with our Everglades was a volunteer this year. So give it about a month or two and this thing will be producing way more than we can eat. There's actually like 4 plants over there. There's another plant right here. There's another plant here that I'm training over to this trellis. I am trying to keep some separation this year. They kind of got mixed in together last year, and I don't want that to happen. Over here is the other tomato trellis, and on here we have our super sweet 100. Oh my goodness, look at this Everglades, just growing everywhere. But yeah, we have 3 vines of super sweet 100 growing in here, and they are starting to just absolutely take off. Now you'll notice no flowers, no nothing growing on them. We've just had a spell of heat that is normal for Destin, Florida. We're going to break that heat, and as soon as we break that heat, this thing is just going to start exploding with tomatoes, if it's anything like last year, because that's what happened last year. So I've allowed the grass to grow up a little more around these aloe. There's great big aloe plants in here all over the place. They're kind of growing up down here lower, smaller ones are growing up down there. I'll eventually pull the grass when the weather starts breaking a little better. Less heat, and letting these things take off. So that's the aloe patch between bed 2 and bed 3, and then of course bed 3 is my favorite patch, the pepper patch. And of course this is a Tabasco plant. This is its 2nd year of life. We overwintered it in place. We had a cover here that we just kind of kept it covered the winter of last year. And this is the 3rd year, because we planted it July of 2022, July 22nd of 2022, somewhere in there. We planned to put this in the ground. It was a seed start from Bonnie that we got at our local Ace Hardware here, And so yeah, this is going to be its 3rd year of production. And the funny thing, this is the cool thing, this plant survived. In fact, everything you see in here, or all the big plants you see in here, big pepper plants you see here, survived the freeze of Christmas of 2022, which is very cool in my book. I said these were planted in 22, right? July 22nd, 2022. A lot of these were planted from seed. This is a Fatali. It's a little bit slower to develop. You can see there's a bud right there. This thing will just take longer to develop than most of the others. The Tabasco produces... If you've never grown a Tabasco plant, holy cow, one plant will do you. One plant. It'll do you. Underneath here, there is a little jalapeno traveler. And these make kind of small jalapenos. I got to get, in fact, I was hoping to get this bench off for this garden tour, but I did not do that. I would be placing it, in fact, if I just going to be placing it right here. And this is the 8-foot cattle panels that I used to make the overwintering cover for the peppadews right here. Okay, so that was just a turnaround of the camera. Anyway, Scotch bonnet, I am starting to harvest. This is this guy's 3rd year to produce. I think there's just one left here. There were 3 under here. Yeah, it's just the one plant. You can see it's quite robust looking. There used to be 2 others over here, and I think the others who have died. They won't all survive, people, especially living in the bed over winter. So I see there's another leaf flower plant there, but that's a jalapeno. Now this is a jalapeno traveler, and its jalapenos are significantly bigger, which is kind of cool. I do have a couple of jalapeno plants. This is a jalapeno chili. This is actually a radish plant, which has not produced any radishes. I was using it more as a cover crop, and it's actually done pretty good. It hadn't let a lot come through. Looks like this one is actually starting to seed out. Sure enough, look at there. That's fine. I don't mind radishes as a cover crop. Again, we have one of our honored guests here. Okay, so he is 2 feet from me. He's sitting there looking at my leg. There's a fly coming up around. Oh, here he goes. Where'd he go? He's come closer to me. Now he's looking right at me. Maybe he's looking down in the bed. I don't know. A lot of these have become very accustomed to me being around. They don't mind me. Sometimes they'll run. Sometimes they'll. In fact, sometimes if I'm digging in the soil, they will actually come to me and wait for me to dig up and throw them a bug, because I know what bugs they like. It's the little gray beetles that we have in our soil. They just love. They will actually attack for them. Oh my goodness, they're crazy. And I see, look, there's another one there, another one there. Oh, that's so funny. I like these guys. Another jalapeno plant there, kind of on the struggle bus. This here is a Peri. These red ones, I actually picked a whole bunch off this plant just a couple days ago. These are pretty hot. I don't know, 100, 200,000 on the Scoville scale. Good flavor, good flavor. This right here, judging by the fact that there's nothing coming out of it yet, I'm going to say it's probably a Fatali. But I don't know. We'll have to find out. I'm pretty sure it's probably another Fatali, which I wish I had more Scotch bonnet. I might have to get in here and be a little more intentional about growing some more Scotch bonnet. This is a mammoth jalapeno. Now, if you saw that short of the jalapeno that was consumed, this is the plant it came from. But yeah, this is my mammoth jalapeno. These things are getting ready to be harvested. Oh, I didn't show you the mammoth. I do have some mammoth jalapenos over there in bed number 2. And I've got about a dozen mammoth jalapenos. This is Sunday, July 21st. And Mrs. Bowtie is going to be serving some jalapeno poppers Thursday night at our house to friends. We're doing a Christmas in July. I might have to show you some decorations. There's another jalapeno early, I think. I got a tag down in here. This thing is a, oh no, oh! I spoke it into existence. That's a Scotch bonnet. That's what I need right there. I need that thing to grow up. Hey, you, grow up. No, I just planted it recently, so it's coming. I did lose whatever this was. I think that was a Peri, kind of on the struggle bus too. Okay, so this bed right here, this is one that's really changed. In fact, let me show you. This is video from last month, or maybe month before. I'll put it, you'll see it here. Anyway, this is the bed. It was really looking bad, had a ton of stuff. The two plants that are left here are Brussels sprouts. And there's two Brussels sprouts. I have a feeling they're both going to fail. This one's already doing, it's turning into mush in the middle there. I haven't even looked at the other one, but I think I can see that it is. These were planted last fall. I still need to figure out Brussels sprouts, people. The heck is that? There is a massive... Oh my goodness, this thing doesn't have the browning thing. It's a massive thing right there. Is this a... I think this is a Brussels sprout. There's another one. Oh, what the heck is this? Okay. I'm sure this is a Brussels sprout. I'm going to go back and look. I'll put across the bottom of the screen here. Is it really a Brussels sprout? I planted these Brussels sprouts and look at them. They're all bitten off. I think these were slugs that bit these off. I need to get out here and figure this out, but I'm kind of at a loss as to what to do. So we may be without many Brussels sprouts at all again this year. And we'll see. There's another, I see another one of those radishes growing right there. Still hadn't developed a radish, but holy cow, this is a solid ball. I've never successfully grown Brussels sprouts, so I don't know what it is. Folks, I'm still a new gardener. I had to stop the camera and catch my breath there a little. Anyway, you can see we did a lot of clearing out over on that other side. We actually did a lot of clearing out on this side, and it's still growing strong other stuff. And a lot of times I just take it and throw it over there. It'll get mowed. Okay, let's look at the last of the bed number 3. We have a couple of our Nebraska wedding plants. We had 2 more down here that have failed right up the row. This one looks like it's getting ready to fail. I don't know if this one's actually going to produce anything. They've been growing. They're not great in our weather. I did put a heavier piece of shade cloth over there in the hopes in the afternoon sun it would do better for them. I don't know that it has. So there's that. Folks, I'm still learning here. And I'm going to step up here and I'm going to cross right here to the other side. If you'll notice right there, we actually have basil planting, and I'm very excited about the basil. It's looking good. It won't be long until that sleeve right there gets removed, because it is just looking good. 2 more basil plants over here next to the tomatoes. I will be planting some Roma in here, down over there where those 2 Nebraska wedding have failed. I will. And yes, I know, they're Nebraska wedding. They probably cannot stand Florida heat very well. I know, you don't have to point it out. I realize the insanity of it, but Mrs. Bowtie and I love the Nebraska weddings. Oh, they are so delicious. Anyway, so these are 2 more Super Sweet 100 plants that are just going crazy. There are no flowers on them, but they are just going like nuts. And they're going to start producing tomatoes here. And then we have this one last German pink that I need to tie up real quick. So I've got you sitting up on the edge of bed number 2, over here on bed number 3. Now, I have a little box here. One side I have jute, the other side I have sisal twine. I do not use jute twine on tomato plants because the jute breaks down a little too fast, okay? Jute under the intense sun breaks down. Sisal twine, which is made from agave plants, for some reason is stronger. And you'll notice this twine actually looks smaller, but it's stronger. So I encourage you to look at, when you're getting your twine, get sisal twine. This stuff will last a whole year for me in our Florida sun. So I will sit here and I'll cut a little piece out of it. And I actually have, this box comes with, these 2 balls of twine stay here. And I just stick my scissors, the scissors stay there, and that stays in the Florida room, so I always have it pretty close by. The Florida room is, I don't know, 16 feet over there, And then I will go in here and tie up these things just loosely. You don't want to tie them tightly because that vine is going to get thicker. And I sit here and I'll tie a square knot on it. Just a loose square knot. Now the knot itself will be tight, but there's a loose loop here that'll just keep it going up. That's it, folks. That's it. Not much time spent in the garden. In fact, there's going to be a live coming up. Be sure to subscribe so you get notifications. Got a live coming up on how much time I actually spend in the garden. So, yeah, coming around to the end, folks. So right here next to this tomato plant, we have our very last thing. We have our goji berry plant, and the goji berry didn't do very well this year. In fact, there's 2 of them here now. I actually stuck the ends of one of the branches and it sprouted up a whole new plant over there, but I forgot to trim back all the dead stuff last winter, and so we kind of had a failure. This is a lot of plant in here going strong, but I need to get in here, clean this up, get it going again, and make this new. So yeah, goji berry is done producing. Goji berries they're called the fountain of youth for the Asian cultures. They look like a little tiny pepper, like maybe a Tabasco pepper, but they taste just like a tomato. People use them in smoothies and all kinds of recipes. So anyway, that's the end of this garden tour. However, and of course we have another airplane flying over with the Cabela's banner. Anyway, I do want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. You've helped make Bowtie Life what it is today. All these things help grow the channel, and y'all have been awesome. I'm so excited to be where we are now. We are working on our next goal, and when we get there, we will be able to do so much more. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Y'all have a blessed day.